So a lot of you guys know that I really like Chainlink, and I also find prediction markets fascinating. In fact, I spend a lot of time talking about Algorand's prediction market, Alpha Arcade. But now Chainlink has actually partnered with Polymarket to bring prediction markets on chain. So this is really fascinating. Let's dive into this news. And this comes right from Chainlink themselves. Polymarket, the leading on-chain prediction markets platform, has officially partnered with Chainlink to launch new 15-minute markets featuring near-instant settlement and industry-leading security. Starting with asset pricing, the integration combines Chainlink data streams and automation to speed up market resolutions and provide robust defense in-depth security. The integration is live on Polygon mainnet. It's interesting. Enabling the creation of robust prediction markets to around any of the hundreds of crypto trading pairs already supported by data streams. This marks just the beginning of the collaboration between Polymarket and Chainlink. That's really awesome. I mean, everybody is just in Polygon themselves, so of course they're into it. Yeah. Polymarket, they're all commenting. I think this is awesome. I'm a huge fan of prediction markets. I think they do better than polls because people have to put real money behind their convictions, you know? So you can't just say, oh, you know, I think this is going to happen. Like if you're wrong, you actually lose money, and that incentivizes you to either be correct or to back off if you're not that sure. So it's almost, if you're not that sure about it. So that's like a test of certainty. I think this is awesome. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Chainlink, and I love these different types of things that they're doing. Very awesome. But that is not all. You know, we talked about the Chainlink reserve before, and for those that didn't see that segment or they don't know, Chainlink has this reserve because Chainlink offers services to companies that are on-chain and off-chain. What the Chainlink reserve does is it takes some of those profits coming in from off-chain revenue sources and funnels them back into Link by buying this Chainlink reserve. That means they're taking those off-chain profits and putting them back on chain, and that benefits you and me as Chainlink holders. So today, the Chainlink reserve has accumulated 43,000 Link. As of September 11th, that's yesterday now, as I record this, the Chainlink reserve holds a total of $280,468 Link. So 280,000 Link right now. And in fact, we can go, well, let's see what happens. Yep, that's right where it is. That is about good, I don't have to do the math. That is $6.9 million in Link that is being held on Link. That came from off-chain. This came from like companies that they're working with. You can see they kind of do it in looks like once a week they add to it. So, you know, they started it, the first tranche was about 65,000, then not quite double that, probably another 50,000 or so, et cetera, et cetera. So it's been about that much every single time they add it. And they're just building up that reserve. I think that's super cool. I'm such a big fan of this idea. And I think I'd like to see other chains do this too. But of course, they first have to... Oh, I should correct myself, actually. It is a reserve of Link funded via revenue from various off-chain and on-chain sources. So to be fair, some of that is coming from on-chain, but I think the crucial issue here is that it's taking off-chain money and putting it on-chain. That's the biggest deal. So very, very cool. One of the reasons I like Chainlink. I think this is pretty interesting too. This is from Nico. DTCC is going live with Link. The DTCC settles $3.7 quadrillion per year. In case you're wondering what that is the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, which processes trillions of dollars in securities transactions yearly, with recent figures showing NSCC processed 3.7 quadrillion in 2024. I don't even know. I can't even fathom what 3.7 quadrillion looks like. I mean, that's just a lot of zeros. That's so much. That's so much that's being processed. That's going to be processed on Chainlink. That's amazing. Can we see this? Yeah, this is like the testnet thing. It doesn't really tell us much here, but this isn't speculation. It's right there, hiding in plain sight. We see it because we're Marines, and the rest of the world is asleep. Quadrillions, any price target you have is FUD. Listen, I don't love the word FUD. I really don't. I do think there's a real thing called FUD that they point toward, but that doesn't mean that. I think FUD gets overused a ton. Like just because something is bad news, like it doesn't mean that it's FUD necessarily. But it might be. It actually might. It also might be. I think FUD is when you put something out there that's false. It's FUD is like every time we entered a bear market, all the journalists would be like, "Oh, see, Bitcoin's over now." It's like, no, it's just in the bear part of the market cycle. So you got to take a little time to understand what you're writing about or what you're talking about. Anyway, I think this is really, really awesome. And I think I really want to look more into this. I wish we had a link on it instead, but that can't be all. Oh yeah, there's this one. Grayscale files for the first US LINK ETF with a staking feature. So that's a key element here. There actually is a staking feature involved, which I think is awesome. Let's dive into this. We'll dive into CoinMarket News here a little bit. And move that over a little bit. This is from CoinMarketCap News. Grayscale files for the first US LINK ETF reserve with staking feature. And I love how they do that. You can actually like pull up the little chart right inside the article. That's pretty neat. What does it say on there? Rank number 12. Yeah, rank number 12. Grayscale has submitted an S1 registration statement to the SEC for what could become the first spot Chainlink ETF in the United States. And Grayscale, they've been doing a lot of these. They have an HBAR one coming, XRP and Solana, which are not much of a surprise, but I thought the HBAR one was very eye-opening. I'm very happy about that. Anyway, could become the first spot Chainlink ETF in the United States. The proposed fund would convert from the existing Grayscale Chainlink Trust, managing nearly $29 million in assets. The ETF would trade on the New York Stock Exchange, ARCA. I don't know what that is. I haven't heard of that before. I'll have to look into that. Actually, let's do it now. New York Stock Exchange, ARCA, is an all-electronic stock and options exchange that operates as a subsidiary of the Intercontinental Exchange, the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange. Didn't know that. I learned something new today. Formerly known as the Archipelago Exchange, it was acquired by the New York Stock Exchange in 2006. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So they have this like basically electronic version for stock and options trading, and apparently some crypto stuff too, huh? Well, maybe not. No, but the stock would be a crypto. It'd be a crypto stock, basically an ETF around crypto. Okay. A unique staking component could generate additional yield for investors if regulatory conditions permit. Third-party staking providers would operate while assets remain in custodian wallets, with rewards retained, distributed, and sold for expenses. Share creations and redemptions would process in cash, mirroring existing spot BTC and ETH structures. However, the filing allows for potential in-kind redemptions if future regulations permit such operations. Chainlink's decentralized Oracle network connects blockchains with real-world data, enabling smart contracts to access asset prices and external events securely. Link token pay node operators and secure the network through staking mechanisms. So I kind of want to know, like, well, how much? Okay, that's the announcement. They really talk about, like, I'm curious, like, what the staking is going to be like. As they mentioned, yeah, Grayscale has also filed for ETFs covering AVAX, Doge, Litecoin, Sol, and XRP. I thought, did they not? Am I wrong about this? No, I'm not wrong. There's also an HBAR one. I'm just kind of surprised they didn't add that. By the way, I don't think we need a Doge ETF, but whatever. Trump administration's pro-crypto stance has encouraged firms to prepare products they believe could gain approval under the new SEC leadership. Paul Atkins now chairs the commission. Yeah, I think that's a big reason why we're seeing a lot of these is because now the Trump administration has put together this panel and they're trying to make sensible regulations. And, this isn't really about Trump or, good or bad or whatever. This is about, I think in this realm, this administration has been much smarter on crypto, much smarter on crypto than the past one was. I just don't think regulation by enforcement without actually having rules in place makes any kind of sense. I mean, that's just hostility. And I think you can make it safer if you actually create rules and regulations that people have to follow and then expect them to follow it. And then you can actually have this stuff in the US where we can benefit. And taxpayers can benefit because that's, more taxes those companies are gonna pay here versus sending them to competing countries. So that's my opinion on that. Yeah, so this is good news. I'm happy about this. Let me just. Boy, we have a really nice audience on all platforms. Actually, appreciate that. I think that was the last link news I had, but let me double check. Oh, nope. I don't know if we have an article here, but this is from Cointelegraph. Latest Caliber becomes the first NASDAQ firm with a link-focused treasury strategy after initial token purchase. So we've heard a lot, like Strategy is famous for having, and before it was called MicroStrategy, famous for having a Bitcoin treasury reserve. And now Caliber is doing, this is a wealth development company, so it makes sense for them to do that. Yeah, this is really, really interesting stuff. I think that's all I got. And people, very good reactions. There's just been a ton of great link news. I think that's really, really awesome. Okay, now I think, let me double check. Tinyman, Compex. I'll go, yeah. Yeah, see, I was talking about that. There's the, they filed for the Grayscale Hedera Trust. So I wasn't wrong about that, by the way. So I just I did want to mention that. I think I addressed this earlier in the week in my video, but we were talking about the link. We were talking about the link reserve or the link ETF, but there also is, they didn't mention the Hedera one, but there's also a Hedera one. All right. I think that is all our link news for today.